That's a bad hammer. Oh, right. Welcome back, Wolfpack. Verlis here, and this is how to use. G Fuel sent me some stuff. Cool. Welcome back, Wolfpack. Verlis here, and this is how to use Stunfisk. Full disclosure, G Fuel sent me a Blackout Shaker Cup and some packets of Blood Orange, and if you guys want energy or something like that, use code VERLISIFY for 10% off of your order for your gaming or job-related needs if you need a lot of caffeine in you. On that, we can look at Stunfisk, who looks like hasn't really had much going on in his life for quite some time. Look at the stats, 109 on the hit points. Hey, that's actually pretty good. 84 on the defense, that's alright. 99 on the special defense, hey, that's pretty good. So when we break it down, it's going to have a good defensive backbone for this Pokemon, even though it doesn't look like it really has much of one, and then 32 on the speed, so it's not going to go fast. It's just going to be some Pokemon that's going to absorb hits, and then maybe make something happen through sheer tankiness. 81 on the special attack is a little bit of a problem, means we're not going to have insane amounts of damage, but again, we're still going to be a pretty tanky Pokemon, so we can work for that. Now look at its typing, ground electric typing. Stunfisk is hilarious because it also gets the Limber ability, so it can't be paralyzed, and then it can't be paralyzed. So weakness-wise, ground, water, grass, and ice. The weaknesses with that ground and ice are a bit tough, but we also get the immunity to electric, and then a decent amount of resistances, flying, poison, rock, and steel. So a pretty balanced Pokemon overall. Maybe I would like to see 3 resistances and 3 weaknesses instead, but this is what we got, and we'll have to work with it. Hopping into Pokemon Showdown, we're going to see that Stunfisk's tankiness is going to make it really good as a Stealth Rock set Pokemon. That the idea behind it is you throw out the Stealth Rocks and then you go for damage. Because you're so tanky that even a super effective hit won't KO you most of the time. Now unless it's like a super choice specs boosted or very high damage super effective hit. Yeah, but you can just survive the one-off like super effective hits that aren't stab or something pretty easily, and then you can set up a free Stealth Rock. In the event of you being a 3-hit KO, then you just go for the damage. You have Foul Play, so if they have some kind of Pokemon that's going to be weak to that dark typing or just a heavy physical Pokemon, you can do more damage to them with that Foul Play, because remember, it factors in their attack stats. So if they have more than over 300 and something attack, then you can just use the Foul Play. Now think about Discharge and Earth powers that they do gain stab. You do have to factor in the powers of that. So Foul Play is going to be 95 base power, Discharge and Earth power are going to be 80 and 90. So with stab, a little bit of extra bonus damage. But I mean, if you see like a huge physical Pokemon, or if you know they don't have as much physical defense as they do special defense, if not, go for Discharge or Earth power. If there's a super effective hit in there, you might get a lot of damage, but mostly you just want to get the Stealth Rocks and try to cheese out. Now in the event that you trade Stealth Rocks, you might find a 2-hit KO on that Earth power. Like, it's not a lot of special attack, but if you're getting a really solid hit against a frail Pokemon, anything's possible, and leftovers might keep you alive just a little bit longer. As for the abilities, as I said, Limber. Limber is pretty hilarious. Pokemon can't be paralyzed, but it can't be paralyzed because of ground and electric, so not really a useful ability for this Pokemon, so we are going to go with Static. Now, best case scenario on the Static is they make contact with you, and then you just get to out-damage them, and maybe score KO off of that. So 30% chance after making contact that they will be paralyzed. And then the Sand availability, if Sandstorm is active, you get 25% more evasion. After that, we are going to be looking at the Curse Pain Split Stunfisk set. So say you want this Pokemon to actually sweep and do damage and get things done. This is actually going to be a pretty good set for it. And look at this Pokemon. Remember, we had 109 on the hit points and 99 on the special defense. We're going to be really tanky, so we max out hit points, max out the special defense, and then we set up one curse, and we're good to go. So we bring in Stunfisk on something that's not going to hurt us, you know, we bring it on a non-super effective hit. We might even use it to resist something, because if you have a Fairy-type Pokemon, you might see a Poison-type attack. Bring in Stunfisk and maybe work around it. After that, you know, we max out the hit points, max out the special defense, so after one curse, we're going to have 422 on the hit points, over 350 on that defense, and over 325 on that special defense. I mean, it's going to be a really tough Pokemon to knock out. This is when we're getting 4-hit KO range, and that's why we also have the Pain Split. So once we're setting up all that damage for us, you know, we can do damage, we can like curse into a Pain Split, gain some health back, and the cool thing about using this curse setup is we don't have to damage them if we don't need to. So now if they bring in some kind of special attacker that's using water type moves or grass type moves, that's going to be a bit of a problem, but until we get that, you know, we can just keep using Curse. After 2 Curse, it gets rid of our effective weakness by doubling our defenses, making that doubled attack not do as much. So we can set up 3-4 Curse and then start going for the damage. Against Flying type Pokemon, we use Rock Slide. Against Levitate, Rock Slide, but in that Earthquake all the way, baby. That's actually going to be Stab. But say Ground type Pokemon, so does get that Earthquake Stab, and it's going to be really strong. 150 base power after that, and say we get +3, +4 on the Pain Split. Now our attack is going to be looking huge as well. So now we can 2-hit KO Pokemon, while also being very, very frustrating to take out, and we have a little bit of sustain from that Pain Split. Pretty much we Curse and Pain Split until we know we're going to 1-hit KO them. So set up 2 Curses, use Pain Split, and then we can go for the damage, because now they're going to be at around half-ish, and Rock Slide or Earthquake will KO, and then we just kind of rinse and repeat. You know, if they have a full health Pokemon, don't think we're going to be able to do it with 2, maybe even 3 Curses. Like, the idea is to get as much as possible. So you heal up a bit from that leftovers, and then you take another hit, and then you get some more Curse in there. And at the point, you know, if they only have physical Pokemon left, so you want to pair Stunfisk with a special defense tank, try to make it to where, you know, Stunfisk, if it comes in and gets, like, forced out by some kind of special attacker, it's not going to really matter too much as long as Stunfisk is still at relatively high hit points. So that's why you just keep setting up those Curses. When they get down to physical Pokemon, they're just not going to be able to do anything to you, and then damage from that. So once you get into a good situation where you're 1-hit KOing or just Pain Split into an Earthquake, Stunfisk can actually roll through a team really well. On that, we also have Toxic Infestation. So if we're looking at Stunfisk for more of a pure defensive tank, it's actually going to do pretty well on that. I was thinking just a little bit of special defense to hold it over. So with this, we're going to have over 400 hit points still, pretty good on the defenses, and maybe even if you want to, you can go like full defenses and throw in that bold nature even. But if we're doing that, then there's like effectiveness, because you're going to get a couple of more stat points out of special defense, but it's also going to put your defense to a point where you wouldn't have had it. So the idea behind this is pretty much the same, except for a different cycle of rotation. Because with this set, we're not damaging them, so if we're not damaging them, we heal more from the Pain Split. With this, we're doing damage over time that amplifies, so we need to act fast, and we need to make sure we're in that 3-4 hit KO range, or else things are going to get pretty bad pretty quick. So we either want to take a huge amount of damage that's a borderline 3-hit KO, or we want to get bumped into that 4-hit KO range so we can set up even more. So what you want to do is you want to lead with that Toxic, because it starts off doing 1/16 of the opponent's health. That's not going to be too bad. Then you want to do Infestation. So Toxic Infestation, going to start dropping them down, but if you can get that off and then survive enough to do a Pain Split. Now I haven't done the math, but I'm trying to wonder, you know, if we do Toxic, then Infestation, then Pain Split, so we're taking away a lot of their health, and then we Protect, if that's actually enough to KO most Pokemon. Now we do have a high amount of hit points, so that means even if we are lower than them, it might not be substantially lower, so we might not take away enough health for them to get KO'd by the Infestation Toxic, but then we can like Protect stall it and still gain a lot of health. With leftovers, we're going to be getting 1/8 between Protects, and so on like that. Now what we can also do is just kind of break it up, you know, Toxic Protect, gain as much health as possible. Infestation Protect, gain as much health as possible. Use Pain Split to just get a bit more for that turn, then Protect, then they're going to be knocked out. So you can do the ultimate troll out Stunfisk and make it work in your favor. Now, what I was also seeing is that with the Sand Veil ability, you can run it on a Sandstorm team and just kind of be mildly hilarious and as annoying as possible. So we keep our Pain Split for any kind of sustained situations, and then we just use Bright Powder. So Bright Powder plus Sand Veil plus Double Team is going to be gaining as much evasion as possible, making us impossible to hit. We also have Attract. Now, the reason why I wanted to throw Attract on this is because we've seen Attract become very, very powerful. You slap it on a female Pokemon, if they have any male Pokemon, their game is pretty much done, because it makes it to where there's a 50% chance they're not going to be able to attack for that turn. That's pretty scary. So what we do is we just set up the Attract. So 50%, and then they need to fight the accuracy, then they need to fight the other accuracy thing. Then while they're getting immobilized by love, we set up a Toxic, and then we just double team until they go down. When a new Pokemon comes in, we Pain Split them, and then we Toxic, we rinse repeat, and we might become almost unkillable. Now, in single battles, it's going to be difficult. Singles weather setups are possible, but pretty technical. And in double battles, it means that we're not going to have to get focused. Might be doable as a Stunfisk, but there is a lot of Earthquakes, so that can be a problem. And if they double focus us, they might cheese out a hit, but that's why you just have a really strong Sand Setter. Like, you can use a Pokemon that's going to use Sandstream, or you can also just have a Pokemon setting up its own Sandstorm via the move. So there are a couple of options you can take with that. Then you have that Pokemon set up. Say you go into a Tyranitar, have it use Dragon Dance, have Stunfisk use Attract or Double Team. Now the opponent's going to be like, well, one of those is killing me today. And remember, Stunfisk's still really tanky, so I was thinking that we could find a good split, maybe do the same one as this, except with that special defensive nature. That way we're kind of ready for everything, so in this situation, it doesn't really matter since we're going to be using Toxic, so I mean, we can have Calm or Careful, or even Sassy. Like, if you can get a hold of one of those natures, don't stress yourself for having the perfect nature. We just need special defense, then we throw in some hit points, and then we throw in defense, and then we throw in special defense, and we're going to make it look alright. And that's pretty much it. So if you guys enjoyed the video, remember, 10% off your G Fuel order with the code VERLICIFY, link in the description and everything like that below. I hope you all have a nice day. Thank you for watching.